On February 17th, 1963, in Cumberland Hospital in Brooklyn, New York, the greatest basketball player was born. And yes, I still consider Michael Jordan the GOAT. I don't think it's close. He's not even my favorite player ever. That is forever going to be Allen Iverson. But objectively speaking, I still think Michael Jordan is the greatest. And fast forward to 2012, Angelo Beck, who was born and raised in Queens, New York, founded Awake New York, a streetwear brand that draws influence from New York City, a city which I consider to be the greatest city in the world. I love New York City. Just love it. And on March 9th, we'll see a collaboration between Awake New York and Jordan Brand. Their first collaboration, but probably not the last. Not only does it pay homage to New York City overall, but specifically Brooklyn, New York, the birthplace of Michael Jordan. Awake New York, Jordan Airship. Now this shoe is dropping on March 9th for $150 at Awake New York, and then on March 13th on SNKRS, but I don't see it loaded up on SNKRS, so I don't know, that might change. But as of right now, March 13th should be the release date on SNKRS in the United States. Now it does seem like we're getting quite a few airships coming up. So you got this one, you got the pink airships, as well as the green A Ma Maniére airships. So a lot of airships recently. And this one, I think out of all of them, out of all the recent releases, definitely looks the best. Can't really go wrong with this kind of white and red and black colorway. And if you didn't know, the Jordan Airship has a very mysterious history. For the longest time, Jordan Brand wouldn't acknowledge its existence, but finally, I believe in 2020, Jordan Brand's Twitter tweeted out a photo of Michael Jordan actually wearing the airships, and the history behind that was before the Jordan 1 was actually ready for Michael Jordan to wear in the NBA, he had to wear the airships. So the whole ban story about how the Jordan 1s were banned because it was black and red, there wasn't enough white on the shoe. It was actually a pair of airships. So Jordan Brand tried to rewrite history, people found out eventually, and then they finally owned up to it. And now they're making money off of it. And first impressions of the shoe, I think the colorway is just very, very nice. You can't go wrong. There's one big flaw, and I think you can guess what it is. Just a hint there. But overall, very nice. I don't love that Awake New York branding, but I get why it's on this shoe. Yeah, I think it's one of the best airships to come out in recent memory. And this is actually the first collaboration with Jordan Brand and Awake New York. This shoe is just one piece of a larger capsule. So there's also an apparel that's available. And they actually released a short video called Where I'm From on their social media. Check it out if you haven't. And the entire campaign and capsule was meant to pay homage to Brooklyn, New York. That is also, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, that is actually where Michael Jordan was born, and you'll see a reference to that on the box, and I'll mention that later. And the materials on this upper sole, it is leather, and the leather, ooh, it is nice. You can see the texture very well, and it's very soft. And then on the metallic silver swoosh, that is also leather, but overall in general, the leather is nice. And then you see on the ankle collar, the snakeskin material. Not quite sure how to judge snakeskin, because it's obviously not authentic snakeskin. Otherwise this shoe would cost a lot more money. So definitely fake snakeskin. Generally, I don't love that texture, but in small amounts, not the worst. And this pattern does look pretty nice. And also on the ankle collar, of course, the Wings logo. This time it is embossed in all black. Kinda hard to see the Wings logo because of the color and the texture of the material. So it looks a little bit messy, kind of looks like a blob of paint from far away. And then you'll see on the lateral side of the shoe, Awake New York logo. It is stitched, so single stitched on the shoe. That is nice, looks very intricate. And this little flap, that is what's special about the airship. A flap that's kept together by the laces. And moving on to the booty of the shoe, you'll see the snakeskin extends all the way to the back. One shoe has Nike Air on the back, the other one has Awake New York branding. And the tongue, pretty standard for a Jordan Airship. And this kind of pinkish hue nylon tongue with a Nike Air tag on the top of the tongue. And inside the tongue, Awake New York branding. Now one thing I do have to mention, if you've never worn a Jordan Airship before, from a bird's eye view, it does have like a slightly more rounded toe box, at least if you compare it to like the Jordan 1, which is obviously very similar. It's just slightly more rounded, slightly wider looking, so if you're not into that aesthetic, just definitely keep that in mind. And the Jordan Airship does come with a rubber cup sole with a Nike Air unit on the heel that is polyurethane encapsulated. And if you had any doubts, there is a booklet that comes with Jordan Airships. This one's actually customized. It is slightly different. It does show the different materials and features of this Awake New York special Jordan Airship. So it even mentions like the snakeskin. So really nice attention to detail there. And one big gripe that I have about this shoe, it is this yellow kind of pea stained rubber cup sole that is the same as the A Ma Maniére airships that came out late last year. I do not like this at all. Just looks messy, it's overdone, it's unnecessary. I do not like it. And the Jordan Airship comes with a rubber cup sole. You'll definitely recognize this pattern, starting with that concentric circle pattern that originates from the Air Force Ones. That shoe was originally made for basketball players, and basketball players tend to do a lot of pivot movements. So that was meant to make the pivoting movement more easy. And the rubber outsole for this shoe, it is kind of in this vintage aesthetic. So you see it's got this kind of distressed look about it. I don't mind that because it doesn't look like someone stepped on pee like the rubber cup sole. So that's not too bad. And this shoe does come with one extra set of laces in the same red. And I think that red actually looks really nice. Gives the shoe a different type of pop. You can't really go wrong with either the white laces or the red laces. But for me, I think I'm gonna swap this out and go with the red laces. Insole of the shoe, at least compared to like a lot of general release Jordan brand shoes where it's just straight garbage insoles, this one feels much thicker, so that is definitely welcome. And this shoe also comes with a metal Jumpman hang tag, and it also comes with a bunch of stickers. So you'll see on one side, you have the boroughs of New York City, as well as Brooklyn, which is obviously on theme with the rest of the shoe. In the box of the shoe, a branded box, and inside the lid, you'll see these coordinates. This actually points to Cumberland Hospital, the place where Michael Jordan was born in Brooklyn, New York. So really, really cool detail there. And the paper inside the box, also branded as well with a map. Love it. Love the storytelling. And now moving on to sizing and comfort. I'm a size 9.5 true to size. I do have wide feet. For airships, I just go true to size. I have gone up half a size before just in case. Definitely too much wiggle room. So whether or not you have wide feet, I do recommend just sticking true to size. And a nice little touch is you'll see the size of your shoe on the ankle over here, 9.5 mm. Airships in general, I don't think it's like the most comfortable shoe, very similar to a Jordan 1. Obviously the tech specs and the history of the shoe makes it very similar to a Jordan 1. But this shoe in particular, the softness of the leather as well as the thick insoles, I feel like it does make it slightly more comfortable. Super soft leather, like no break-in time really, so in terms of comfort, this shoe is pretty decent. The tech specs are very old, rubber cup soles I don't love. It does feel more heavy, less responsive, more flat to the ground. Just feels kind of stiff, but overall for casual use, definitely no problems at all. And that brings the total sole score of the Awake New York Jordan Airship with 40 out of 50. A very high score compared to other collaborations. Now first, it is colorway. I think this is a very nice colorway in terms of the white upper sole, or technically sail upper sole with the red and black. Two things that I don't love in terms of the colorway is that pea-stained rubber cup sole as well as this silver swoosh. The silver swoosh isn't a huge deal, but this color, not good. Don't like it at all. In terms of the materials, pleasantly surprised, very, very soft leather. If you're into that tumbled leather look, you're going to like this shoe. The snakeskin, I'm generally not a fan of. Obviously, it's fake snakeskin. Feels kind of artificial, but I'm not the best at determining what's good synthetic snakeskin. But I generally just don't love the look. And in terms of the comfort, usually I think the Jordan Airships are pretty average in terms of comfort. Not the greatest, definitely not the worst. I think the softness of the leather, as well as the thick insoles, definitely makes it slightly more comfortable than a general airship. I don't know actually, off the top of my head, if airships usually come with those kind of thicker, nicer insoles. My guess is not, I can't quite remember. I've only owned like 2 pairs of them, but this is definitely slightly more comfortable than like an airship that I've owned before. Not by a huge margin, but it's a comfortable shoe. And in terms of the versatility, this silhouette, obviously very similar to a Jordan 1, which is super wearable. So I think the airships are pretty wearable as well. And the wearability of the colorway, generally very wearable. Silver, not a standard color, but nothing too loud, nothing too bold. I just don't see huge issues in terms of the versatility of the shoe. And in terms of the storytelling with the whole video that dropped as part of this campaign, from the box of the shoe to the few pieces of memorabilia that comes with the shoe, the branding on the shoe itself, that is all really well done. Now airships are not for everybody, collaborations are not for everybody, but when it's a nice colorway on an airship, and a collaboration that's done really well. Just like every time I get a chance to visit New York City, I can't say no. When I saw this shoe, just couldn't say no. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Sole Inclined. Let me know what you think of the Awake New York Jordan Airship. Like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff. And remember, tomorrow may never come, so wear your shoes.